There! Oh, my non-existent deity, where the hell did you come from? And 7? 7 what? Oh, simple proofs. Oh, okay. Proof of how not to make a video intro successfully? What on earth is going on? This is the most baffling start to a video I've seen in years. It's almost like this person doesn't really know what he's doing. Damn, that's never happened before.
It's no question that there are a lot of people who are
baffled by your ability to use chroma keying to remove your background, but failing to properly place yourself in at the start of your timeline. Yeah, I know, it's embarrassing.
Walking away from religion.
Ah, okay, that explains everything. Now I know what the proofs are. This is going to be 7 simple proofs that goddamn the big real, because I have a brain so large that, much like a meteor gaining mass and becoming a planet, it forms a near perfectly smooth sphere. I mean, it is so grand in scale that it is almost the size of a marble. Take that, atheismo.
Young people especially are falling victim as they're indoctrinated, infected with liberalistic values.
Young people are falling victim to the liberals. Bam, bam, bam. Whoever it is that they are, because frankly these days it could mean anything really. The most extreme political whatever to a normal person with very normal opinions that just doesn't happen to include God. Or just not the correct God. Whoever the fuck that is.
All kinds of humanism, atheism, evolution.
Yep, called it. That's so freaking funny. And evolution is a goddamn fact. And one of the things I have learned in all my years as an internet smartass is you probably shouldn't give your opponents, scientific facts. That tends to make them sound a lot more correct than you. Again, embarrassing. Come on.
And now you add what's going on in our world today, and people quite literally are just losing their faith.
What's going on in the world today is such a meaningless platitude, because people have been saying it for pretty much, since the dawn of time. The world is changing and it's bad is always the opinion of someone. Sometimes it's wrong and sometimes it's right. Sometimes it's complicated, but it's never not the case that change is happening. And if you haven't noticed that, I can only assume that you haven't been paying any attention. And certainly not in class if you think that evolution is the liberal agenda, TM.
For just a couple of minutes, what I'd like to do.
Yep, education failure over here. I mean, he thinks 10 equals a couple, and that's like 5-fold wrong. So failed maths, failed science. Let's see if we can get the trifecta that he doesn't know what words mean either.
Is I would like to give you 7 simple proofs that there is a God.
Okay, awesome. I'm looking forward to your proofs, and I hope they aren't badly formed thought experiments or philosophical fails, or worst of all, simply terrible evidence that doesn't prove anything of the sort. Because that would be, exactly what I expect. It's just, it would be nice to be wrong for once in my always correct lifetime. And no, I don't count all those times I was wrong, because f*** you.
7 little statements that you can jot down, that you can remember, maybe more importantly, that you can pass on to your children and your grandchildren.
Oh my God. Sorry, that's just so funny. I mean, if you believe things based on simple statements rather than conclusions, based on actually thinking about things and understanding the universe and how it works, you're going to be raising your offspring to be a bunch of dumbasses. And to be fair, considering yourself, I guess it's a family tradition at this point.
Ways to know that, yes, there really is a God.
Well, frankly, I'll be shocked if they can show that there is any God at all. I would bet everything I own that it won't even hint at which God it could possibly be. But that's mostly because these things never do that. But give it a go. All the whiskey on earth is quite the prize. Shh, don't tell him about the moon whiskey.
Let's take a look at each one. Number 1, every creation must have a creator.
Lasai is the worst one, and no, that's not anything, dude, because this is going to be the universe must have had a creator, checkmate, etc. boys. But the thing is, are rocks created? Are rivers put there on purpose? Is a cloud intentionally designed? Or do these things form based on principles that we understand the mechanics of through science? Because that's the thing. If these things form without someone doing it directly, and so many other things must be exactly the same way, well, where does it stop? Ultimately, we can study these things back to pretty much the beginning of the universe without anything being created specifically or needing to do so. So what need of a creator if literally nothing ever needed one?
And we know that today. We know that if you see buildings being built, if you see construction sites, that didn't get there just by chance.
No, but we can also watch the people building those things. But a mountain? We have never witnessed someone building one of those. But we did find all these natural mechanisms that can make a mountain, because it's almost like these things aren't the same.
You see an automobile driving down the road, you know that car had a creator.
Unless you're calling the company that makes it the creator, that's kind of meaningless in this day and age, because I bet 90% of the making is done by machines, and then the rest is probably multiple people on top. So while, yeah, that's still a thing being made by something else, it's just multiple something else's. So I guess a pantheon created the everything, I guess? Sounds more likely than one all-power boy for no reason, and there's usually more sex involved in them, so that's good too.
Likewise, so did the universe, and so did you and I.
You simply don't and could not know that. That's an unbacked assertion based on a false equivalence, seeing as universes and buildings or cars are not the same things, even remotely. All you know is that the universe exists, as far as you're aware, and that some things, but not all things, are made. Well, that's hardly compelling, is it?
Every creation must have a creator.
But not everything that exists is a creation. Oh, hey, look, he failed at words as well. Nice. Damn, man. What, were you educated by a bunch of feral badgers or something? Although, more likely just homeschooled. Potato, Tomatosaurus Rex, or however that saying goes. Look, I never said I was educated either.
We never see an exception of that in science. And guess what? God is that creator.
That's not even a sentence. And even if it was, how do you know God did the create of anything? Have you ever seen a God create something? No? So even if the universe was created, that is literally all the information you would have on that front. Something created the universe, and it certainly wouldn't show that it was your God specifically.
Number two, every design must have a designer.
That is exactly the same one with the exact same arguments against it, you feckin' moron. I'm sorry, it's just repetition really scalds my scrot.
I spent many years dissecting human bodies.
Whoa. Wait a second. You didn't tell me you were cool. I do that too. Bit of a hobby of mine. And of course, by dissecting, I'm sure you really mean exploding into a fine mist. It's such a wonderful art form and leaves such pretty patterns.
In medical school, I've probably, at this stage, have dissected well over 500 human cadavers.
Oh, never mind. I didn't notice the doctor part till now. You know, assuming that it isn't a total lie, that's really depressing. Because that means this man, who has the education level of a sack of mouldy spuds, somehow got access to a shitload of corpses, and I wasn't even invited. But in medical school, you dissected 500 corpses. Were you not very good at it? I mean, I don't know what the average number of dissections for a student is or is supposed to be, but that sounds kinda high. I mean, even if that's one dissection a day, you spent well over a year chopping up bodies. Damn, kinda jealous. I should go to medical school. I mean, I would if I had the grades, or the desire, or the motivation to actually do anything ever. Why do you think I'm a YouTuber?
Friends, you can't open up the human body and look at all the different systems and not be blown away by design.
First off, who the fuck is Frizzute? And why are you talking to them instead of me? Second, if you know fucking anything about actual design, you'll find that the human body is terribly designed, but it is something that is an amazing example of natural processes producing things that work just about well enough to get by. You know, because that's what it is.
You see the muscular system working intimately with the skeletal system so that you can You can move your arms, your legs.
How the fuck else would that work? If they didn't work together, they wouldn't work together. Seriously, the idea that you're a doctor and don't believe in evolution is just really confusing to me. To the point where I have a strong feeling that you're just making it all up. I mean, you never did say you finished med school. Just that you chopped up a lot of bodies. Anyone with a big sword and a pile of them in a field could do that. Does that make me a doctor? I hope not. I don't want that kind of responsibility.
You see the nervous system innervating those muscles. You see the digestive system breaking down food to provide nutrients to all the cells in the body.
And then you see all the things that don't make any sense whatsoever if it were actually designed. Because that's the thing. Just because something does a thing, more or less, doesn't mean it was designed to do so or meant to in any way. It doesn't mean that it does the thing well. Because that is the thing about design. Elegance is something that is generally strived for by those who design things. Simplicity in form and function is often considered the best way to make things that work. But bodies are rarely anything even like that. Because shock and or horror, they weren't designed, and certainly not by some higher being with a perfect mind. I mean, maybe an idiot designed them, but then I doubt they would work even as poorly as they do, although it would still explain quite a lot.
You see the circulatory system delivering oxygen and nutrients to those cells, the respiratory system taking in oxygen, getting rid of the metabolic waste, carbon dioxide.
You don't see it doing any of those things in corpses. And not just because it's way too small, but also because, oh my god, I think our man's a murderer. Well, I guess you aren't the shit show of a theist I thought you were. Well done. You have earned some small modicum of my respect. Don't let it go to your tiny peanut head.
The immune system, all these various systems. And as you think about that, I want you to remember all of these are made up of living cells.
First off, thinking about things, you first, dumbass. And second, what exactly else would you expect them to be made from? Cement? Like, all of this is just, hey, look at the thing working the way it works. Therefore God, right? No, not therefore God. There is no conclusion to be taken away from this other than that's how things work, you dumb fuck.
Living cells that have organelles inside. When you stop and you really think about all the different parts of the human body,
you just vomit uncontrollably because of how disgusting human beings are. Couldn't agree more. Utadi, you filthy creatures.
You recognize real quickly that doesn't happen by chance.
And if someone had studied science before slicing up a bunch of questionably dead idiots, they would know that that doesn't describe any of the systems that happen in nature. It's almost like this guy got his doctorate out of a fucking chocolate bar. And not a good one like a Cadbury bar, but those value brand value bars. They contain almost 3% real chocolate.
Or you look at the design in the universe. Anytime you have design, by definition, there must be a designer.
I told you it was literally the same one, just using a different example, but changing examples doesn't make it any less stupid.
Number 3, codes require someone to program that code.
Ah, are you kidding me? These better not all be the same thing wearing a different hat, or I am going to get real salty real fast. Let me check. Okay, fine, they aren't all the exact same. They are just mostly the exact same with different specifics. Although he does try to make different points, and it's not all of them, so I'll allow it, I guess.
Now, we know that. For instance, with computers. Any of you that have programmed computer code, software, you recognize just one little error, it can throw the whole program off.
Wait a sec, are you trying to tell me that human beings are so badly designed that one little error can make them stop working? Well, damn, talk about planned obsolescence. God designed humans so that one thing goes wrong and the whole thing falls apart. Great job. I mean, that's not actually true, but it's the way he's framing it, and it's not my fault that he's so bad at this. It's God's, obviously.
And yet, inside every cell of your body, there is a code much, much more complex, much, much smaller than any computer code we have ever programmed. It's called DNA.
Right, so that's the crux of this one, and we have a couple of different points to address. First being that DNA and code that humans have made are very different things that function in different ways, and while they resemble each other from a very basic and shallow perspective, anyone who knows anything about either will know that they simply are not the same thing, and to compare them apples to apples is a very silly thing to even attempt. And second, bigger than any other program, what is this, the 1980s, before the dawn of the mighty compact disc? Because yeah, 725 megabytes is practically nothing by today's standards. I mean, Christ, the operating system on the computer you likely edited this video so poorly on was probably multitudes bigger than that, let alone all the footage and the software on top to do so. And don't get me started on Vimeo, James, today. Fucking 100 plus gigabytes. What do I look like? I'm made of hard drives? Oh, wait, never mind.
Now think about that for just a moment. Inside every cell of your body, there's a code. Two questions. Number one, where did the parts for that code come from? And number two, who programmed it? Codes require someone to program that code.
Evolution is perfectly able to do the shit you call code. No coder needed. Even if it was the same thing. Can you please stop making assertions and back up a single one of your goddamn claims?
Number four, laws require a lawgiver.
Well, this one is just strange. You know that laws change, right? Laws come and go, or are updated to reflect the reality that the lawgivers currently find themselves in. They aren't some fundamental fact about reality, merely a reflection of how at least some people want things to be.
In James chapter 4, verse 12, the Bible says, there is one lawgiver who is able to save and to destroy. Now, we understand that there are laws of nature. For instance, things like the laws of momentum or the laws of gravity.
Right, but those aren't the same thing. The word law in this context is not prescriptive like human laws that have lawgivers. They are descriptive because it's literally the way things are. To compare these things to each other is another demonstration that you don't know how anything works. It's almost like you're some kind of stupid person.
But let me make sure you understand something. Laws don't happen just by chance. If you have a law, there must be a lawgiver.
Okay, so aside from the fact that they aren't the same thing, again, the laws of nature have not been shown to have been given by some cosmic council of judges. We have not seen anyone decide to gravity or electromagnetism. They just happen, much like, by the way, evolution, which is as much of a law as any of them. And if made by God, the fact that you decide to ignore it would probably really piss him off. You might want to watch out for that.
Number 5 is the law of cause and effect.
Cause, you smashing your head over and over and over again with a hammer. Effect, you are a very, very silly person. Okay, I'll go with that, based on the obviousness of that example alone.
Anytime you see an effect, there must be an adequate cause that made that effect.
Right, within the confines of the universe that we inhabit. What about outside of that? Do you know? Have you seen? I'm going to assume you haven't, because I get the feeling the likelihood of you making some profound discovery about the universe is, let's just say, a little slim.
Let me give you an example. If I were to suggest to you that a gopher dug the Grand Canyon, you would look at me like I was crazy.
What? Gophers in the Grand Canyon? What are you talking about? That's fucking stupid. That's almost as stupid as saying that it was caused by a single massive flood that for some reason very specifically carved a windy set of channels somehow. You'd have to be a real moron to believe that.
Because even if you put that gopher on steroids and you had him doing physical training and he was at the gym every single day, that gopher's not going to dig the Grand Canyon.
I seriously don't know what your point is supposed to be. I mean, sure, one gopher will certainly die before being able to do a Grand Canyon, but billions of them chipping away at it over time, could certainly have an effect. And much like what actually caused it, water, with millions of years, something as formless and malleable as that thing that you use to make ice cubes for whiskey, can cleave the very earth itself asunder. Because, you know, that's what it did.
That effect, the canyon, is far too big to have been caused by a little gopher. All right?
All right, but I am noticing a distinct lack of you saying what did actually cause it. As I alluded to earlier, the stupid belief, which is that it happened during Noah's flood, which is of course ludicrous, but as someone who dismisses evolution in favor of, well, God did it, it would be helpful to know if you do think that. And not just so that I can take the piss out of you for it. No, only mostly because of that.
What about the universe? There's your effect. What caused the universe?
Okay, he's not going to say it, but considering his worthless point bringing up the fact that something small and soft can have a massive effect, then from the sounds of it, fucking anything could have caused the universe based on his own idiot logic mixed with what actually happened.
And some may say, okay, then what caused God?
You know you didn't say anything about God just there, right? You skipped ahead on your own thought process. But fine, good point. If everything needs a cause, then so does God. And no, you can't special plead your way out of this. Unless you can show something that doesn't go with the rules you established, then you have only dug yourself a hole that simply gets deeper the more you try to explain your way out of it. We should use you to dig for oil.
God is a spirit. He's actually outside of the law of cause and effect. For every material effect, there must be an adequate cause that existed prior to it.
You can't just say that as if it's true without justifying it. That's not how this works. You either have something that you can demonstrate to be true, like, say, you had the existence of some other thing that can cause an effect without needing to be caused itself. Or you don't know if such a thing exists, so you can't just claim that it fucking does.
You know, a frog jumping into the ocean doesn't cause a tsunami wave. What's a big enough effect or a big enough cause to make a universe?
Again, one frog, no. Millions of frogs, certainly. And cause and effect isn't even about the size of causes or their effects. It's about the fact that one thing causes another. Christ, you are pro at not understanding even your own damn points, aren't you?
Number 6 is the existence of morals.
Oh, you can fuck right off. I have covered morals more time than I care to recall in the last few months alone. Put simply, morals don't exist. Evolution caused them in order to increase the ability of humans to survive. And then the humans themselves invented their descriptions as morality. There is no such thing as universal morals that have come from some sort of morality giver or simply a universal morality wave. Otherwise, everyone would agree with everything all the time. All right. Let's just skip to the end so I can get out of this shit show. I really shouldn't have stood in the hole with him.
The 7th and final simple proof that I want to give you is this. Communication requires a communicator.
Are you taking the piss? Communication requires a communicator. What the fuck are you even blathering about? I can only assume it's stupid because, you know, I checked ahead and...
You see, God created man with the ability to communicate.
Yeah, no, that's just more I decided because I don't understand anything type of arguments. Again, communication exists because it's useful, and the fact that we can talk and express ideas like, where the fuck's my whiskey gone, is far more easily explained by survival than God decided. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if they could talk? When considering the shit you have said today, any God worth his salt would have put a stop to that shit immediately. And as the all-powerful and somewhat loving God that I so clearly am, I will.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the...